Hi guys, it's Mattias, and in today's video I'd like to talk about how the Battlefield community is starting to get, in my view at least, more and more polarized, which I'm going to bring up a couple of theories about why that might be. So if you're unfamiliar with the term polarized, that is a term that is used when two groups with different opinions are drifting further and further apart from each other's, and as a result of that have a harder time communicating or coming to any kind of conclusions or even engaging in a productive discussion. Now, normally the word polarizing is used in political and religious discussions, and disturbingly enough, more and more lately. But it seems to me also that Battlefield 5 has had this effect on the Battlefield community, and I'd like to bring up a few of the reasons why. As you can see, I'm playing Medic, and I'll do that for the majority of this video, so we'll start there. And we'll start with one of the changes that was made that made it a lot harder for medics to perform one of their most important duties, which is reviving. Now, what the changes has done to reviving is that it takes longer to revive for a medic. It requires an animation that has to be triggered for the revive to happen, and even though for the most part it actually does work as intended, there are times when the animation just simply won't activate. Of course, the revive animation in Battlefield 5 has already been discussed many times, and I brought it up myself. The reason why I'm bringing it up in the beginning of this video is because this is one of the most important reasons why people in Battlefield 5 have a tendency to be rather angry with each other, and especially people that are not being revived in situations where they believe that they could have been revived by a nearby medic. Now, I've seen comments, discussions, and even posts on Reddit where people give a lot of shit to content creators for not reviving more than they do. And funny enough, in some of these discussions, my name has come up as an exception to that, even though I know for a fact that had we had one of the older systems for revive that we've seen in the previous Battlefield titles, there are many situations in Battlefield 5 where I would have gone for a revive, where in this case, I just simply find it too risky. Now, what I've seen about this is that people's opinions about this issue drifts more and more apart. And you might want to make the argument that some similar things have happened with basically every discussion in the past. But what's happening with Battlefield 5 is that I'm feeling that the game mechanics is pushing the two sides of the two opinions further and further apart. So now let's just take one very specific example from the previous title, Battlefield 1. You had a lot of discussions, especially in the beta, surrounding the light tank and especially one of its loadouts. And there was a lot of polarizing discussions there also, but DICE quite quickly realized that, there was an issue here. They changed it, and with that change, the discussion kind of died out with some of the patches. Same thing can be said about pilots and non-pilots, where there's always these heated discussions between the air and the ground relationship, and also with the options for anti-air. But even there, DICE have in one way or another changed the game in a way so that these toxic discussions really doesn't serve much of a purpose. Battlefield 5, however, introduced quite a number of new features that are significant changes to the core gameplay, such as attrition, fortification, and, as I've mentioned, reviving. And these things are not balance changes. Balance changes is one thing. That is always a discussion that's going to be based on what preferred playstyle you have. Now, this is core gameplay mechanics that just completely differs from anything that we've seen in the previous Battlefield titles. You could have told me that he was looking at me. Of course, one of the big questions about the Battlefield 5 is, of course, with all the new changes and with the new big changes that has happened, is this going to bring in more people that will find Battlefield interesting and enjoyable and unique enough so that they will continue playing this game, compared to all the people that will quit playing the game because they no longer recognize the game that they have followed and played in the past? Now, me, personally and honestly, I have tried. I have played this game basically every day since launch for 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours a day, and I'm really trying to find a way to enjoy it. But I'm not gonna lie, it's getting harder and harder every time I start this game up. Of course, another thing that comes to mind is since the new spotting system is very different, making it a lot harder to spot people, and with the graphic design making it harder to see people when they're not spotted, you have yet even another factor that plays its part in why this game is getting more and more polarizing. Visibility in Battlefield 5 has proven to be another topic in the game that is really difficult to discuss. It's important to keep in mind also that some of these discussions, one of the reasons why it's so hard to discuss it is because we're not really used to having these discussions in first-person shooter games, and especially not in the Battlefield series. With a series of AAA titles such as Battlefield, one of the success of a game series like this is the build-up of expectations based on previous titles, and then delivering on those expectations. Now, that's not all, far from it, but it is a big part of it. Now, when a game developer such as DICE or EA deviates too far from what is expected by the core community, is that you're going to have a lot of strong reactions from a lot of players. The problem is, if the game creates a lot of strong emotional reactions about issues that can't just simply be patched out or fixed, then a lot of players just simply feel that they have been betrayed. Now, since this video is about discussing the game, then maybe some of you guys can prove me wrong in the comment section and show me that it's actually possible to have constructive discussions about some of these, especially some of these new topics that comes with Battlefield 5 specifically, that are not really that much of a part of the previous titles. And again, I remind you, things like the revive animation, of course, attrition, and visibility. Those are the three main topics, and I'm sure you can find a few others as well. Of course, before I end the video, I'd also like to point out the last and one of the most emotionally loaded topic in the game, and that is cheating and being accused of cheating. Now, this is a topic that has been part of the Battlefield series and a lot of other shooter games in the past, so even if there's a lot of people that argues that Battlefield 5 is specifically bad and specifically problematic in this area, this is not really a unique topic. Anyway, I'll be looking forward to your comments in the comment section below. Hope you will finish the video. My name is Mattias, and I want to thank you all for watching. Going towards the flag.
Explosive set.
Oh, upstairs in the big house.
Yeah, I got him.
Nice, nice.
Nice. You're being revived. Sorry, I can't get you. Nah! I tried to get you there, but it didn't work. This weapon is pretty damn good.
dir!
We have taken objective Dora. We have now taken objective Delta. Keep this up, we are almost there.
Jetzt leg dich wieder zusammen!
Ouch.
We are losing objective Delta.
I have to get to the flag.
Lost objective East.
Shit!
Ah,
There's more coming.
got one.
Ah, he's right above me, just camping. Still in the building.
We have taken objective Delta.
Above STG for it.
Yeah. Hang on. Ah,
Jetzt leg dich wieder zusammen!
no.
We have
Jetzt
lost
leg dich zusammen!
lost objective Baker.
I'm here, mate!
Nobody gets fucking revived.